We're going to do chips and fish. That's bassa fillet. $2.75 for two, Sainsbury's. Put some music on. I've got oil heating in here and I've cut most of the chips nice and thin. Spread them out here to warm and just dry them off. That's what I find is best. Cut the edges, I leave them quite thick, so that's a mass of potato that you want that's about the same as one of them. There's no point chopping the thinner bits unless you like lots of crispy. Some of them might come out crispy. I'll put them in last as well. So let's chop that in half. Now chips, I've cut the one side, then the next, put the flatter side, spread them out 3 or 4 deep. You don't want the whole mass because they slide as you're cutting. Squeeze the juice out, lift the bottom up, tends to squeeze the juice out. And then tip, draw the tip out. Tip down, draw the tip out. Tip down, draw the tip out. I would just leave that on. Spread them in here so they dry, like I say. Does help a bit. Now I've got my fat, is now a bit of smoke coming off of them. So it's just hot on level 3 on my hob. What's that? It's a halogen hob, this is. So you want it a little bit hotter when you're putting them in. Now tip the fat away from you. Put the potatoes in on the back of the pan so it doesn't splash. And keep them moving. Now don't want it too hot because they'll stick to the pan. And you can tilt the pan, which rotates them around rather than just moving them. It's a little bleeps tune I made. I'll edit it on so you can hear it a bit better. I don't use that. What I do, bamboo. You can leave it soaking quite well, unlike wood, it doesn't split. Now you just prod them about, lift them up, turn them over. They're brown on the bottom, those chips that are touching the pan. So you want to just scoop them across the edge and flip them round. That's what I do. Now to begin with, they're fairly robust. Later on, be more delicate, else you just break them up. And I've done chips before and ended up with a mush of oily potato mush, which isn't very appetizing. It just sits in your belly. Now keep them moving all the time. When I'm doing my chips, I tend not to leave the chips at all. Now what I'm going to do is just fry this little bit of fish in a flat saucepan with some butter. Here's my saucepan. I've got a new saucepan coming. It's called a Brizol, made in Ukraine. It's come from London. It cost me £20, free postage. It's got a detachable wooden handle. It's about a 20cm iron skillet with a beautiful pattern on the bottom, mentioning something about golden ratio, I don't know, anyway. It's the best thing, and good advice on how to season the pan, as in cure the surface and look after the surface, cleaning it and then putting oil on it, re-seasoning the pan by baking it in the oven, would you believe, for about an hour on 180 degrees, the gentleman suggested. So as these are now cooking a bit, I can add the bigger ones. So just pull the side to the edge, stick them in the hot part of the edge, circulate the oil a bit. Put that chunky one in. Now you heat, like I say, don't want it too hot, they'll stick to the bottom. So all of your cooking, minimal temperatures required, especially burgers and beef. People crank up the heat with beef and sear it. That's all very well if you've got a nice hot griddle, but when you're doing other things, you don't want to be doing that because you'll end up, it just stick to the pan. And burn. Never leave the cooker when you have heat on. Always stay next to the cooker. Now, these are starting to soften. As some of them are broken already, look. I've been a bit robust here. That's the end of my tune. Bleeps. Alright, keep them shaking. Now I can move this out of the way and reinsert my pan. The diangles turn out about 2. Now keep your knives well out of the way. Now when you're using knives, don't do things at the same time with a knife because you'll forget and you'll cut yourself at some point. So I will leave it way out of the way in the safety zone. Way out of the danger zone. Now stick your chunky chips in there. As you're going along, let the heat build back up a bit. So I've got it on 3.5 here. It's maximum. I like my chips doing that. Cook them quite slowly. We just keep chucking these in, circulating the hot fat around so you don't get cool zones, cool spots. Zone. Chip zone. We're in the chip zone now. There you are, and we'll go in there. So I quite like leaving these, why not? No point cutting them in half. Make them cook nicely. Like I say, it's all about the mass, ultimately, not the actual shape. So, these are softening now, so I've got a bit more delicate, really. Although I do quite like a few broken ones. You get the little crunchy, crispy bits. So, yeah, they'll only need a few more minutes, so I've got the heat on the pan. Takes a bit of a while to warm up that one. But I don't want to warm this pan too quick, too hot. And my fish will just stick to it and fall apart when I try to move it. Yeah. You can see when you first do the chips, there's quite a lot of steam. Now you know they're ready, or they're overdone if there's no steam. Don't ever let them smoke. You don't want to see any grey smoke in there. That is all steam from the moisture from the potato. And a nice purple. It's a bit weird, isn't it? Because when I see that now, it's the same colour as this lamp, the LED. It's a good way to test the batteries in your remote controls. Any remote control. The little infrared LED on the top, when you press the button, it will glow blue, similar to that colour. And obviously you won't see anything by your eye, but it's a quick and easy way just to make sure your batteries are working. You can test other batteries in your remote control. Now I'm going to take my attention away from there and adjust the heat down 3¼ with your kitchen scissors. Put some air in there. You can just run around. Now if you don't want to cook both of them, because there's 2 fillets in here, you can just leave most of the plastic. Don't have to rip it all out. Anyway, this goes in flat side down. You don't want it too hot. This is going to be a little bit hot. See, it's stuck already. So I'm going to turn it down. But what you can do is turn the heat down or take it off the heat, and it will release within about a minute and a half without losing too much heat. Some down the edge. There's some around here on this end. Now the fish will take virtually no time at all. I mean, you can see it turn white. Well, obviously yellow at the minute. It's starting to turn white around the edge. Yeah, those chips really do need to come out now. So we just scoop as many as you can at one time. Now let them rest a second. The hotter the oil at this stage, the better. You want the oil to be nice and runny and hot, so it's going to just drip right off. A little bit of agitation releases a bit more. You just go plop. little bit of movement just to release any oil that's clinging between the surfaces. That was fresh oil, straight out of vegetable oil that is, not sunflower. Don't forget to turn your heat off immediately. Look at that, see a bit of oil bubbling in there. Just give them a little bit of movement and that releases that last bit of oil. You got your lovely chips, so you can just pop them back on top of that. Being that it's nice and warm there, so it keeps your chips warm. You always use residual heat. Now here's my fish, look. Stuck. Which is quite good because I like the crispiness that you get from a stuck bit of fish. I've turned the heat off from the fish. Now if you're having boiled potatoes, carrots, fine beans, which I recommend, or peas, you can use this butter for the peas or potatoes. Obviously that goes on top of the potato. I'll just break my potatoes up with a fork. Rugged, broken potatoes with a bit of butter and obviously lots of black pepper. Lift the top off. Get a bit black pepper on the hob. Oh, and it will tickle the very back of your throat. It's a good way to empty the house. If you're having a party and you don't want people in there, put the hob on, bit of chili, cayenne, black pepper, anything like that. There's always a bit just rattling around in there. I've got a load on the hob here as well. Let's just do that while we're at it. Anyways, just to demonstrate my Cole and Mason. Cole and Mason pepper grinder. Don't use your pepper grinder over boiling water. Steam will get in there and congeal. I usually like to make homemade ketchup. So we just get tomato puree. 1, 2, 3, 4 strings. I like to add a bit of balsamic, not too much. And malt vinegar. Not too much. Surprised how much you will need. Salt. Not too much, but surprising how much you will need. Tad more. To compensate for the vinegar and the salt, you need sugar. Surprising how much you need. There we go, that'll do it. And you can add soy, celery salt, cayenne, bit of chili even. Careful with this one, it can sploot out very dangerously. So you just want 4 or 5 drops. That was 3 splodges, this is about 4 or 5 drops. Last but not least, a bit of water. Mix that up. It's surprising how much water you'll need. You might have thought that would be too watery, but once you've mixed this in, look. Once you mix that in, you see? It's just about right. That's slightly runny for, say, regular ketchup. Now the fish has been sat there for a good 3 minutes, and look, it just lever off beautifully. And if you do like crispy fish, that's the way to do it, because you will get a nice level crispy surface. So, last bit of heat while I get a plate out. Let's put this fish away as well. I just cover the fish back up like so. Sometimes I'll cook it. I'll just cook 2 pieces and then keep one in the fridge. Just warm it the next day. Anyway, so now you've got that there, you can put your pita bread on top of there in the fridge. I like to keep bread in the fridge, lasts longer, especially pita bread. And there you have it. Fish with chips. So I'll put a bit of heat back on there. Just turn the heat back off, because that's all you'll need. I mean, don't forget you can eat fish raw, so you don't have to worry about cooking it like you might do chicken or pork. And a nice little plate, which we can warm here. Oh yeah, they're still warm. Lovely. Now, I do like my vinegar. It's very healthy apparently. Burgers, etc. are a healthy food, or not as unhealthy per dish. You don't want to be eating burgers every day, of course. That will be unhealthy. Because of the vinegar in tomato ketchup. Who knows how that works, but tomatoes and vinegar, especially healthy. So I believe that black pepper is a power food. And I met a girl once in the pub with her friends, and she told me that turmeric is very good for you, but only combined with black pepper. You then access all the goodness in turmeric, whatever that may be, which you don't get if you do not mix or add pepper to your dish that you have also added turmeric. And there we have it. Nice piece of fishy chips. Let's just put that butter on there, why not, eh? Waste not, want not. Fish a la chips. Enjoy. It's cooking on the plate. That underneath will be hot. Bon appetitos.